I just wanted to share a chart there with Santos and get your opinion on it, if I could, there for a minute. I was going to show you something. Something I've been looking at here. Can we see, is it sharing there now?
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just where Santos was talking about the sun and how everything is tying into the sun. And we know that the mainstream is they're trying to sell everybody on the global warming as their new carbon tax and, you know, more and more debt upon the slave and everything. But I've been looking at it, and we know that essentially everything's always in reverse with these guys. But the actual data, when you look at it, is pointing at the 400-year cycle, the Maunder minimum that we went through in the 1600s and through the Renaissance era and through all that time. And I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on whether or not you think that we're headed back towards this rapid cooling cycle for the next about 120 years, and if possibly you think, you know, that could be part of what all this preparation is about, and all the pressure being put on societies, and where they seem to be leading towards conflict, etc. Just your thoughts on that, if you could.
Chris, also you said you thought also that the reason the chemtrails are up in the air is to warm us up.
Well, everything's in reverse, right? They're messing with it, trying to heat it up. That's what HAARP actually does. It sends microwaves up there and actually heats the ionosphere, right? So they're trying to mess with that, and the geoengineering, and they're trying to mess with the weather to warm it up. But they're telling you that it's actually, you know, they say, oh, it's getting global warming, but it's actually global cooling. They're trying to actually warm it up. They're trying to mess with it. Everything points in the reverse. Like all the data I've looked at, it says that we're headed for a cooling.
Yeah. Definitely, it's been cooling, guys. Definitely. And they are the ones who've created the heat, because they know how to excite the particles in the air. They know how to excite the atmosphere, because they control the information, and they've got the ancient information. And this is the trick they're pulling on us. They know that eclipses can only be calculated on a flat stationary Earth, and that's how they are calculated. They know this, but they tell the public, whom they teach in their institutions, that it's since Copernicus and globalism that we've been able to predict eclipses. No. The Mayans could do it for thousands of years on a stationary flat Earth, and so could the Italians and the Greeks and the English and all of the ancient peoples, because that's what they did. In fact, Copernicus revolutionized a swindle on mankind. That's all he did. He's a swindler, and Newton and all of these Jesuit paid demon worshippers. They were all funded by the Jesuits. Okay, how's this? If you want me to do a presentation, I'll get my whiteboard out next time we do a hangout, and I will show you every single family who is behind globalism. I will expose them proper for the first time in history. Would you like that?
Yes, please, Santos.
Okay, it'll be a 2-hour, possibly 3-hour presentation. I'll try to get on earlier, okay? And I will absolutely expose these families, okay? I'm going after the Farnese, Orsini, and Borgia families, #1, because those 3 families, they are the conquistador families, okay? And the, okay, Cristobal Colon. Interesting how Columbus's real name is Colon. Do you know about the Colonna family, the papal bloodline of Rome? Okay, so whenever you hear of Columbia, British Columbia, District of Columbia, the country in South America called Colombia, it's owned by the Colon family, Cristobal Colon. That's his real, Columbus is actually a Colon. And the Colonna family were bloodshedding and fighting against the Orsini family. And these morphed into the Ghibellines and the Guelphs. We know that the Ghibellines were also fighting. Well, that's the Colonna and Orsini family, okay? Tom Cruise is an Orsini. The Windsor family are Orsinis. The Rothschilds are Orsini. Orsini means red bear, little bear, and the bear is red. And Orsini is an anagram of Rossini. Rosso is red. So the Rothschilds are the children, the shield of the red. You'll see the Orsinis papal insignia. What's the coat of arms? Is a red rose cross upside down, pentagram. Anyone, all of these Red Cross, a Red Shield, all of these organisations that have red in them, they belong to the most powerful family in existence, the Orsini. Okay, and they are the Rothschilds, the Windsors. Tom Cruise is an Orsini. These families, they carved up the Americas. They are conquistador families. They set up plantations and they own them to this day. And they are the ones who, shortly after 1492, they are the ones who set up the globe, the Jesuits. Immediately they set up, because people were crossing the Atlantic and coming back saying, oh yeah, it's beautiful and flat, and everything's flat and it's beautiful. Hey, yeah, it's we can see it with our eyes. You know, so they had to stop that. And so by Copernicus dedicated his book to a Farnese, okay, Alessandro Farnese, Pope Paul III. He founded the Jesuits with the Borgia family, and the Borgia family is the ones who carved up the Americas. Okay, Alexander III signed a treaty, Tordesillas, in 1493 with Columbus, the Colon family. These are the conquistador families of globalism. I'm going to expose them so their balls will be exposed for all to see.
Wasn't the Rothschilds, was it Simon Wolf Oppenheimer or something to that effect? His middle name was Wolf, and then the Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf was a nursery rhyme that was kind of centered around that family as well, where the Little Red Riding Hood represented the queen that was sort of a plant in the royal family or something to that effect.
Oh yeah, if you want to know how they've inserted all their family members into all the artwork of history, all the monuments that you go and see in Rome and London, if you want to see how they've insinuated themselves into all of our books and everything, go to a YouTube video by Anonymous, and where they've exposed the Orsini family and the Farnese family. 2 videos, 2 20-minute videos by Anonymous, exposing the Farneses and the Orsinis. Now, they are the 2 most powerful families. I'll just give you an example. Pepe Orsini is the grey pope. He pulls the strings of the black pope, Adolphus Nicholas, and Calvin Bach, and the new one now. And he pulls the strings of the white pope, Bergoglio Francis, right? Farnese, King Juan Carlos of Spain is a Farnese. Spain has always been ruled by the Farneses family, who go way back to Farsi Persia and the Persian Empire, who were always headed westward to conquer Rome, to conquer with their Mithraic teaching. Rome was Mithraic before Constantine, hence it was Persian. The Persians set up the Etruscan Empire and the Roman Empire so that they could launch themselves from Spain, France, England, and Holland to conquer the newfound lands which they knew were there, which were, you know, overrun by, you know, silly people who demon worshippers. So we can go and kill them. It's okay. Christ will let us. They're just dumbasses. They got no idea of the globe Earth. They're flat and stationary, hence they're stupid. Let's kill them. And this was all done by these 3 families. And how powerful is Juan Carlos of Spain today? Well, you'll see him in photos with George Bush. You'll see him with the Pope. You'll see him everywhere. He's everywhere. Why? Because he's the king of the world. The true king of the world is a Farnese, and he's called the Roman monarch of the world. And he is also the military navigator of the Knights of Malta, hence the boss of the Knights of Malta. And he's also the king of Jerusalem. And Orsini is the Grey Pope. So if you want to know where globalism comes from, who's hiding behind the green screen, you've got it. And you're going to get it on steroids when we do another hangout.
Sounds good to us, Santos.
Sounds like a great hangout.
Yeah.
Tell us a date late in a bit, Santos.
Whenever you invite me, I'll just hop on.
Santos, you're always invited. You know.
Yep, I'm minus a few teeth right now because I've had 2 extracted in the last month due to root canal and dentist work that I did in the 90s, and I've had infections, according to my dentist, since the late 90s and cracked roots. And so he said that I could have died 3 times. 2 years ago, he extracted 2 that were root canals. So he's done 4 in 2 years since I've moved up to Queensland, and they were all due to infections of root canals. Do not trust dentists, okay? All my good teeth, they weren't touched by dentists. That's how you get to keep your teeth. Stay away from them.
The root canal was a big scam in the 90s, unfortunately, and people are paying for it now. I mean, it's the same with metal fillings as well, because they contract and what's the other word? The opposite to contract, when it gets hot and cold, so that they actually like fracture your teeth and stuff. So yeah, it's bad news to dentists, definitely.
It is.
In 1913, dentists did actually a research in connecting what connected cancer patients for 97% to root canal treatment.
Yep. When I started, when I lost 10 kilos in 2010, for 7 years I've been 10 kilos underweight. That's a lot for a man who's only like 65 kilos, right? I went down to 55 kilos, and you can see it in every one of my presentations. I always suspected that the toxicity that I was suffering was due to my teeth, okay? But being vain, I wanted to keep my teeth. So when I smile, I got a good, nice smile, right? So I had to lose the vanity by force. My dentist told me that I've been toxic for years, and he said I could have died 3 times. The last one he pulled, he had to clean so much abscess shit that I had around my gum that he said, he doesn't know how I didn't die of a heart attack. And he said that last month when I did the other tooth, and he said that 2 years ago when I did the first 2 teeth with him.
Yeah, how strong is the body?
Yeah, and it generates cancer. It does. All these kids who are committing suicide, just go and check their dental records, and you'll see the cause for the suicides: depression, hatred, violence, everything, all of it. It's all dental work. Trust me. Don't trust dentists. Don't trust professionals. The scriptures always tell us that. Do not put your trust in man, who one day is alive like the grass, and the next day he's in the tomb. Do not trust these idiots. Yeah, we can trust each other. I trust you guys with all my heart. I will die for you guys, because you are my people. Yeah, but I will not trust a professional. You trust a banker, a lawyer, a dentist? Well, you're an idiot. You trust those idiots? You're an idiot. And I was an idiot. I went and spent so much money on root canals. I've still got a few in.
They did something in the 80s, like Santos, because for people like us as well, they were drilling all your teeth out and putting fillings in, making money. But now all of us have got like just fillings.
Yeah.
There was no need to do all these fillings.
Yeah. Yep. It's evil.
So they did root canals on you. So you never needed them in the first place, and they did it to you. Yes. It was all about making money, the dentists making money.
I could have treated those infections that I had without pulling out the nerves and having root canal treatment. I could have done it with garlic, peppermint oil, clove oil, and mustard seed oil, and you just mix those together every morning, and you just swish those little clumps of garlic around. It kind of hurts. Sometimes it stings, but you will have the best oral hygiene. You will smash infections. Garlic, next to any infection, no matter how swollen, will reduce it within 5 minutes. Garlic is the king. Garlic absolutely smashes any kind of infection.
I think I know what that is to Santos. Is it like a few years ago I learnt that in the olden days, doctors used to put bits of onions in the corners of the houses, because onion, like once you peel an onion and open it up, it attracts every germ possible. So what people think is when they have food poisoning, oh, it was that meat or that fish. It wasn't. It was probably the onion.
Yeah, onion and garlic.
And so that would draw all...
Sorry, you go. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you go, Santos. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just thought you finished. I'm sorry. Onion and garlic are so good for you, but not to ingest, guys. You don't eat garlic and onion. They inflame the mind and agitate the mind. You cannot be a philosopher and meditate and chant and grow spiritually eating those two things. But learn how to use them. Have them. I always have them in my house. Garlic and onion. If you put a slice of onion in your socks, when you go to bed, at the bottom of the sole of your heel, you will detox. You'll see all the shit that comes out of your body. Just a slice of, that's how you use garlic and onion. Not in the modalities where you cook with it and everything like that. You can cook with it from time to time, right? Yeah, I would probably go once a month or something like that, have a big garlic freaking purge. But daily, you will be agitated in the mind, and you will be the Vedic science says you will be an imbecile. You will be a mental imbecile if you have too much garlic in your diet. How's that?
I liked garlic. I liked garlic.
Yeah, but you can still have it. You see, you can still have it when you're infected, and when you have infections, like antibiotics, use it like that, but not daily. You can substitute it with asafoetida. I use the Vedic asafoetida. It tastes just like garlic, but it's vegan and vegetarian, and it doesn't excite the mind and make your thinking very agitated.
It's
and same with mushrooms, guys. Mushrooms have the same effect.
Can I just change the subject one moment, Santos? Somebody in the chat room, Marilyn, asked earlier on. She just wanted to know this. Santos, where does the word corruption come from?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
Because of the words. You know how you link all the words. So where does that one come from?
Oh, okay. So it means with, okay? So cooperate and coordinate. And a rupture would be the root of rupt. And so with rupture, or with, cracks or deterioration, pretty much like the word sincere. Sear is wax, and sin means without. So someone that is sincere is like a marble statue that hasn't been, the cracks haven't been plugged with wax. So in the Roman days, they had two shop fronts, one with sincere marble sculptors, and the other ones with wax. So you pay less for the ones that were plugged up with wax that looked just like marble, but they weren't sincere. They weren't without wax. So it's a similar word. Corrupt.
With wax.
With rupture, with breakages, with cracks. So I like that word sincere every time, because my mother's maiden name is Cherminara, which is basically just another way of saying Israel. It's a Jewish name. Not that she's Jewish, but her name was Cher, C-E-R, which means is the root of sincere, C-E-R-E, and Minara is menorah, okay? So the wax of the menorah, the candles on the menorah, the Jewish menorah, Cher Minara, okay? My mother's maiden name. And that's the same cheddar, wax, ceres. So when you say ceres means wax, okay? And that's why it brings cereals and cerealia and Ceres, the goddess of cereals, because the cereal is a wax. The chrism, the oil of the cerebrospinal system, which is the Christ, is also known as a wax. It's also known as fish, bread, oil. It has many names. In the Bible, this oil, this Christ within has many names. The bread of life, the salt of life, the salvation of life, the oil. Christ is also oil. Why? Because it's all this wax. So sincere without wax is what we want to be. We want to be whole, no cracks, in our worship and our devotion to the Lord. Be it Christ. It doesn't matter. There is in astrotheology, and especially my work, there is no condemnation of people, no matter how they see Jesus. That's fine. It's beautiful. I love people talking about God and Jesus. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful because these people are good people. They're spiritual. They're thinking spiritually. And this is what we must be including in our work. We must invite the Creator and give him the glory for all this beautiful sonoluminescent creation that he has provided for us and feeds us daily. Every day we eat beautiful food. This is the God of wine and bread. There he is in Leonardo's Last Supper. That's Jesus. Jesus is everywhere, not in one place in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Not. It's everywhere all the time. Ever present, not coming and going and, oh, just wait, he'll be coming. He said he's going to return. He's just sitting, doing nothing, twiddling his things, watching the pedophiles rape the little boys and eat their blood. And he's just, yeah, but he'll come. He'll fix that. He's coming. No, he's got to come in us. We have to invite the Christ. We have to bring Christ and return Christ to us. And we have to awaken and actualize and activate the Christ.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah. Become the temple of the living. Exactly. Yeah.
The living Christ.
Santos, I've got another question from the chat room. Mary asks, do you think Neptune and Pluto are even there? I think NASA, and we should keep them out of astrology. Taking away traditional rulers is whack.
Good question, because this goes at the heart of astrology, where in the East they do not even consider Neptune, Pluto and Uranus, but in the West we have included them. Yes, they are there, but they are not planets. Okay, none of them are planets. They are sonoluminescent bodies, but there's a big difference between Uranus, the firmament, and the ruler of the starry firmament, because Uranus means heavens, Uranos in Greek. Neptune means waters, Poseidon, who rules the waters above the firmament. There are waters above and waters below. Neptune is the watery psychic ruler of that sphere. It's not a sphere as a ball, it's a sphere as in a sphere of influence, a sphere. They are spheres in that sense. And Pluto is the primum mobile. In other words, it's the outer shell, what we would probably call the Kuiper belt, or the outer body, the dome, the vault of heaven, the outermost part of this construct, which is a cube or a rectangle bounding a sphere, which is also intersected by the plane of the earth. And so they are, and they do bear influence astrologically, energetically. Yes, they do. And they are there, but they're not there in the sense that, you know, like the moon, we discussed at the start of this hangout, the moon is invisible when she's conjunct the sun. Why? How can that be? How can the sun, 93 million miles away, make the moon invisible at the new moon? Why isn't this written about in every newspaper, every book, and every school we talk about this? How come you can't frickin' see the moon on the new moon? You know, people are just scratching their asses and they're going, yeah, the moon's rock in space and it's closer to us and it's right now is the new moon. Oh, but you can't see it.
I think we've always asked that one. We've always asked it, but as you get more... We've always asked it, I think, Santos. Just the more you get into it, you realise how stupid some of it is. You just, like, you're still looking at it and you still don't see it. And then you see it.
Gotcha.
It's so deep.
Yeah. So these are the things that, people don't penetrate. I understood this immediately when I first became Flat Earther around about 2014, okay? And I came out in early 2015. Okay, and I understood immediately because I'm an astrologer. I understood everything about the flat earth instantly, like in a vision. I understood that planets are invisible when they come near the sun because astrology teaches you that. And I know I've done the charts of thousands of people and I've seen their new moon sun and I realize what that means. Their moon is overclouded. You know, they are ruled, possibly they're ruled by you know, someone more important because the sun has been blocked out, right? So therefore, you know, part of their nature is being controlled. Part of their nature is being ruled over. You see, you can understand how the ecliptic, which is energy, affects the individual that is born under those dynamics. That's all astrology is. It's interpreting information. It's interpreting energy.
Santos,
and seeing how.
Santos, another question's come through. Artist wanted to ask you if you know about, oh my goodness, I hope I'm going to say this right, propolis, Propolis.
T-O-R.
No, P-R-O. No, Propolis.
The bees.
Propolis.
The bee.
Yeah, the big
bees,
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I've taken it many times. Love it. It's good for you. Very good for you. It's got energy. It's got pure energy, because the sun is granting to all forms a dielectric core. Core is a word for heart. So your core, your heart, is your dielectric center in your body, and all foods and things that we eat have this, and so we are consuming that dielectric energy, right? And which we call electricity because it's vibrating. But the energy that makes that vibration is dielectricity, which is all capacitance. It's all potential. It's all there, compressed in counter space. We can't understand counter space, but counter space is where all things manifest from. All things. Because we're not there yet, but we will be. And you and I, this type of people on this call, we will get there first. When that transcendental awakening occurs, we will understand these things more. We will understand counter space and how we can go back to and fro from counter space. We will have this ability. Right now, our bodies are it. We're locked in these bodies. It's a prison in the body. It's a prison in the planet. It's a prison in the cosmos. Why? Because we haven't awoken to the true cosmology. This is why I am so... Since the day I started posting Flat Earth, which was when I came... Oh, no, actually before prison. That's why people say, all these idiots who say, oh, Santos is struck a deal with the government and he went Flat Earth after Flat Earth. Well, that's a lie, because you can go to the higher side chats with what's his name? He's a great guy. Keep forgetting his name. The high side chats. Anyway, in July, of course, I went to jail in August. In July, talking about Flat Earth. So you see how people just make things up. These are liars. But since that time, since I came out of jail, because I had a lot of time to think about it, I thought, when I get out, I'm going to make a point of the Flat Earth. I'm just going to do that, because I've done plenty of astrotheology. I've done plenty of other things exposing the papal bulls and the legality system and I've exposed all of those things, and yet the greatest truth that I realized, our true cosmology, and astrologers were right. It's geocentric. They always were right. They have all the wisdom. And I said to the Father, I said, I promise you, the Father, Mother of Heaven, I promise you I will never, ever back down on all the truths. Not that I didn't. As I said, before I went to prison, I was on 2 radio shows that I can point to where I was talking Flat Earth. But not everybody listens to everything. So they immediately think, and I also posted some of Math Powerland ridiculing the CGI globe images before I went to prison. So I was already there, and I can tell you truthfully that I was a Flat Earther since 2014. And ever since that, though, September, I started posting, and I got so much evil backlash from that, man. You don't know, you guys don't know how sick and demented and putrid people are. The emails that I got from people, the amount of attacks, the threats of murder. Man, I tell you, I went through hell. And at that time, I didn't even have the internet. I was going to the local cafes and everything and posting things about flat Earth, and people were demanding of me. They were saying, "Oh, your Facebook account's been hacked. The police got to you in prison. They cloned you in prison. You're a dipshit now. Everything you did now has fallen over because you've gone from heliocentrism to geocentrism. All your astrotheology is cancelled. It's all failed and all this." I had no way of sitting in cafes to write up defences. So for months and months, till I got the internet in my cottage, I had to suffer that. And I'll tell you guys, I did suffer. And that's why you watch me on Facebook and you'll see that I go after the Santa ballers big time, big time, big time. And I won't back down, man. They are idiots and they are killing us. They're telling us, you get idiots like Max Egan. What a moron, man. What a materialist freaking buffoon. Totally a buffoon. And is totally jealous of me. I know that through other people. Many people have told me this over the years, and I didn't believe them until I went to prison and learned something about him. And then when he did all those shows dissing me, that I've gone flat Earth. This asshole is totally a demented piece of shit. Right? And he was one of these ones, you know, big time attacking. And these are the kind of people that I've dealt with, people I used to be friends with, you know, do shows with, Cullen Smith, Danny Wilton, all these upside down dunces, you know. None of them bothered to see all the evidence that I've put forward. None of them. They just went along with their programming. They're programmed. They're materialists. They're swine eaters. Half of them are swine eaters, big time. Bacon and eggs written all over, especially Max Egan. You can see bacon all over his face. All over him. It's wrinkly, it's crinkled, it's freaking dry, it's like plasticine. So people like this.
You know, the really strange thing, Santos, you're like persecuted